Okay, cheating on my girlfriend for her best friend. Now, this is an intense story that I never thought I would tell. But obviously, I just want to say before I do, cheating is never a good thing. Don't cheat. The only things that come out of cheating is heartbreak and a lot of paranoia. So if you're in a couple, you're in a relationship with someone, don't cheat. Don't be that person. I should know because I was that person. But anyways, going on, this story does get intense. But before I usually get into these stories, like I usually say, click that like button and subscribe. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. We're almost at 200,000 on this channel, which would be awesome. And on top of that, if you guys haven't already, I am right now currently live on Twitch, the purple platform. So make sure you guys go on there, you know, watch the live stream, ask questions, say whatever you want. I really don't mind talking to you guys. Hell, we can even talk about doing the Devil's Tango. Yeah, actually, no, let's not do that. But anyways, let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So like the title says, yes, I cheated on my girlfriend for her best friend. And the way the story went out was insane. It all starts off with me back in high school. Back in high school, I remember, I think this was my grade 11th year, I was dating this girl. And this girl was outstanding. This girl was like all the perfect in her with a little bit of sass on top. So it's like she was a mix of a pick-me girl, but she was like a good girl at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, but she was outstanding. Anyways, going on though, I remember me and her, we were, you know, good together in the beginning of our relationship. I'm not gonna lie, the way I met her was outstanding. The way we talked together was good. Everything was good in the beginning. And then it all ended up on this one day. I remember one time at lunch, I ended up going to go see my girlfriend because we didn't go to the same school at this time. And I remember as I was going down to her and hanging out with her at lunch, I remember I was hanging out with her and her other friends. Now, warning about her other friends, I should mention, one of them is very, how do I put this? Stupid and attractive. Like, she knows what she wants, but she just doesn't know how to do it. So she just kind of trolls around with it. The other one I did the Devil's Tango with, but she's like really straightforward. And the last one was just purely dumb. Honestly, I don't even know why she was there in the first place. Makes sense of why she left later on. But going on with the story, I remember when I got there, all of us were sitting around the lunch table. And I remember one of her friends ended up bringing her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was an absolute dumb nut that was, I'm not gonna lie, I think he was like really stupid. Like if you can get stupid and stupider together, that would be like the definition of this person. I just want to say that because, you know, to this day, he's still doing stupid things. But going on, I remember all of us were sitting at the lunch table, just kind of hanging out, chilling. And I remember I was talking to my girlfriend's best friend at the time, or still to this day, actually, funny enough. We were talking, we were just basically like having a conversation, like, you know, just about everything, about like stuff. I don't know, to be honest, I don't remember. All I remember specifically is that me and her really got along. It was kind of weird because we both were really similar in a way. And to this day, it kind of freaks me out how similar we are. I remember we were all talking and, you know, after that lunch day, things were just fine. Now, you guys were probably expecting something to happen at this lunch table, but nothing did happen. We were all just, you know, hanging out, chilling, and just being good friends. I ended up adding her best friend on Snapchat because, you know, that's what friends are, I guess. I guess I became kind of like a part of the friend group since I was dating one of the people in the friend group, or the pick-me girl of the friend group, so it makes sense. But anyways, I became a part of that friend group, and overall, it was a good time. I'm not gonna lie. A couple months went on, and, you know, I got to see them more and more, and I started hanging out with them more and more. And every time I would go there, I would be excited to hang out with my girlfriend, but at the same time, I would be excited to also hang out with her best friend because her best friend actually understands things with her brain cells. I don't know how. She was blonde, so she actually had brain cells somehow. Anyways, one night, I remember I was FaceTiming my girlfriend, and it was at nighttime. I was in my room just alone, just hanging out. I was playing Call of Duty at the same time, and yes, I do FaceTime girls and play video games at the same time. I think most guys do this when they're in a relationship, but I was basically on call with her, and then I ended up getting a Snapchat from her best friend. And this was really random because I didn't have a conversation with her. I didn't do anything with her. It was just straight up, just out of the blue. And I remember I'm like, oh, like, let me check this out. So I remember while I was on FaceTime with my girlfriend, I opened my phone, I went on Snapchat, I opened the snap, and there it was. What she ended up sending me was literally her cherries, her actual cherries, with the caption being, I really want you to Devil's cream on me, baby. Like, what? When I opened that, I was so confused. But then instantly I realized that she blocked me and unadded me right after. Clearly this was a mistake. And I'm not gonna lie, I knew that it was a mistake. Did I mention anything to my girlfriend? No. There's no way I was gonna say that her best friend just sent me a cherries pic. That's not gonna do good for me. But I remember I ended up messaging her on Instagram saying, hey, I saw it. Don't worry. I'm not gonna say anything. This will stay between us. That was really awkward. And you know what? We're just not gonna talk about it. She understood and she's like, okay, like, let's just not tell your girlfriend because she's gonna get mad at me. And I'm like, I understand. And we came to a conclusion that she was really hot, hotter than I expected. And this was a mistake that should not have happened. Now, usually, most commonly, people would just let it go and be like, okay, move on. And that's it. Pretend it never happened. But me, as days went on, I am not gonna lie. I could not stop thinking about how hot her friend was. And every time we went to go hang out, I started looking down more than her eyes. Like, I didn't become obsessed, but in a way, I was like always interested. And then it came that one day where I decided to snap her and I ended up flirting with her. I flirted with her straight up. She knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. She even told me we should not be doing this. And I said, whatever. At this moment, I realized I went total F-boy mode. The F-boy mode that you guys have been hearing stories about back to back to back. At this time, I was planning on settling down around this age, but honestly, I just couldn't. It was just part of my DNA, I guess, in a way. Which, I mean, I don't regret it because, hell, I wouldn't be having this channel if it wasn't for those crazy stories. But no, seriously, from F-boy mode, I ended up just being obsessed. I was like, damn, this girl's fine as hell. And I kept looking at her, and I remember every time we went out and hung out with each other, it was really awkward because me knowing that, like, you know, I saw her was just, it got crazy. I'll tell you guys that much. It was really just insane. And then I remember the next day, I ended up asking her, hey, like, do you want to come to, like, my place after school? Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was planning to do the Devil's Tango. And she knew that's what was gonna happen. So straight up, she messaged me and she said, you know what? Sure, why not? And I remember I ended up going to my girlfriend's school to pick up her best friend and bring her home. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. This is absolutely insane, but honestly, it gets worse. I remember it ended up bringing her home and, you know, we went to my room and obviously we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. Like, I'm gonna be honest, we barely spoke. We just went straight to it. And I'm not gonna lie, even though that was my ex-girlfriend's best friend, I gotta say, I really just don't regret it. Like, as a person that's right now in the future, because this was back when I was like, what, 18, 17? And knowing now I'm 21 and knowing what I know now, I don't have any regrets. But if I really do think about it, what ended up happening next really was not a good look for me. You see, I remember like a couple days later, what I started realizing is that her friend was full of guilt. Knowing that she had to go every day seeing this person, knowing what she did, just kind of just, I guess, made her spill the beans. She straight up told my girlfriend everything from the Snapchat to me flirting back and it going back and forth. But the one thing she never told her was that we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. And it's kind of funny the more I think about it. But going on, after she said everything, I remember I got all her friends FaceTiming me, calling me saying like, how could you do this to her? What is wrong with you? And honestly, I had no response. I didn't say anything. I just kept ignoring them and all this stuff. And I remember I ended up having a conversation with my girlfriend explaining my side, but she wouldn't believe it. She said there's no way. And yeah, since then, things just kind of got worse and worse. Well, not anymore. Now things are perfect, but that's thanks to you guys. I remember after this girl ended up getting off the bed and leaving after we did the Devil's Tango. I remember I ended up standing up and taking a quick look around. And when I looked inside the closet, I realized that there was a military uniform in there. And boy, what ended up happening next was insane. Yo, what's going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story all takes place back in my grade 12 year. Now in grade 12, this is like actually like the month after I graduated high school. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I had really no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what I wanted to do in the future, nor did I know what the future held for me. But while I did not know what to do with my future, I'm not gonna lie to you, around this time, I ended up just working a basic job at a restaurant. And there was a day where after my shift at the restaurant, I ended up getting a phone call from one of my friends. He ended up calling me saying, Bubba, bro, dude, we're going to a party that's happening like literally like close to your work. I was wondering if you want to pull up. Yeah, sure. I don't see why not. I'm almost done my shift anyways. Okay, bet, bro. I'll see you there. And one thing led to another. He ended up sending me the address and I decided to go. I remember I actually quickly went home as well. Even though it was close to my work, I went home and got dressed into something more normal because I don't want to smell like restaurant food while at the party. And when I finally decided to get in my car and drove down there, I realized that this party that we went to was actually a lot of people that I recognized from high school. So I remember that I thought this was pretty refreshing and pretty exciting because obviously, don't get me wrong, I don't like high school for the homework, but for the people, I mean, let's be real here, it's fun to just hang out and just have a good time. So I ended up going in there, basically going into my last high school party that I'll ever probably go to. And I remember as I was like, you know, walking around seeing people, I realized that there were also people that I never actually met before. So I ended up just going around single and mingling the usual until I met this one girl. Now there was a girl at this party and I'm not gonna lie, she was someone I did not recognize, but she seemed like she was there with like some friends that she knew. And I remember I waited for the moment when she ended up leaving her friends to walk up to her and say, hey, like, how's it going? I'm Bubba. Oh, hey, like, how are you? Oh, I'm good. I was just wondering, like, I've never seen you before. Did you go to my high school? Oh, no, I just live with someone that actually used to go to your high school. Oh, okay, cool. Now, when she said live with someone that went to my high school, I thought it was probably like some like girl that she was a roommate with. So I didn't think much of it. But boy, do I wish I did. Because I remember me and her, we ended up like basically getting along. And the whole time at that party, I ended up just basically rizzing this girl up the entire time. It got very noticeable to the other girls too that I was basically trying to go for this girl. So they all ended up backing off. And well, one thing led to another. It got to the point where it got really late into the night. And me and her, we were getting pretty wasted to the point where she said, hey, like, do you want to like maybe like take a taxi back to my place? are you inviting me over? Yeah, like, it'll be so fun. Like, you should, like, actually just come over. I mean, I could. Yeah, I don't see why not. I'm not gonna drive home. So, I remember we ended up calling a cab, and we actually ended up leaving the party like an hour early. It was around 12 at night, and I remember me and her, once we got inside this taxi, we ended up basically driving down all the way to her place, and she lived in a pretty nice neighborhood. I'm not gonna lie, for a person that's like just graduating high school, it's pretty rare to see them like, you know, living on their own or living with a roommate. So seeing her actually live in like a really nice place at the age of just like what, 19, 18, it was actually kind of mind-blowing. So I remember me and her, we ended up basically going in front of this crazy building, and we ended up entering inside, and it was the fanciest thing ever. I remember we ended up basically going straight to her living room couch, and me and her, we sat down and started talking a little bit, and she started going on about something where she said, oh, Baba, like, you don't understand, like, I've been feeling so lonely recently, and like, I feel like I just don't get appreciated the way I should. What do you mean? Well, like, you know that feeling where you feel forgotten? Like, honestly, like, it just hurts. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I know one thing's for sure, I wouldn't forget you. Now, I kind of like snuck in some riz there, you know, trying to play my cards right, and well, one thing led to another. She really ended up liking that to the point where she actually ended up hopping on top of me, and while me and her, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango, which I would be lying if I said I wasn't surprised about, because let's be real here, if a girl invites you over to her home, chances of her wanting to do it is pretty high. Going on with the story though, I remember it got to a point where like me and her, we ended up staying up till like 2 in the morning, and around 2 in the morning, she ended up actually getting up and actually going to her bedroom. Apparently I wasn't allowed in the bedroom for some reason, so I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. And I ended up laying on the couch just passing out, or at least trying to, until out of nowhere, I ended up hearing noises coming from the bedroom. Now, I'm a very observant person, so obviously me, filled with curiosity of what was going on, I ended up getting off the couch and kind of going towards her bedroom, trying to listen in to see what that noise was. When I put my ear up against the door, I ended up hearing noises of her saying, babe, like, I really miss you, like, I really want you come home, I really just want you back, it's been so hard without you. At this moment, when I heard her say the word babe, that's when I started to get worried, because I did not expect this girl to have a boyfriend. And also, why would she want me over if she has a boyfriend? You know what I'm saying? And also, how did he not show up at the party? Like, there were so many questions going through my mind at this moment that I didn't understand how this was going on. So what I decided to do was basically take a quick look around the apartment to see if there was any place I could hide if her boyfriend did come home, because God knows I did not want to deal with him. But the craziest thing ended up happening when I looked around, and that she ended up coming out of her bedroom, and she ended up seeing me saying, oh, hey, Baba, I was just curious, do you want to maybe go for round 2? I mean, sure, yeah, I'm down. Okay, well, let me just quickly go to the bathroom. And while she went to the bathroom and locked the door, right away, when I heard that lock turn, I instantly went inside her bedroom, and I saw her closet was wide open, and in there was a military uniform. Now, when I saw this, I looked at it and thought, oh my goodness, wait, she's in the army? But then I actually started to look closer at it, and I realized that it was not her uniform, because it didn't have her last name on it. So I started to freak out, and I'm like, wait a minute, her boyfriend is in the military? No, I'm not gonna lie, that gave me like some relaxation, which is bad to say because I should not be relaxed at all in this situation, because the girl's cheating on her military boyfriend. But I will say this, it was good to know that he wasn't coming home anytime soon. But then afterwards, I ended up looking around the bedroom, and I saw there was like photos of them and everything, and like times where he like ended up graduating from basic training. And honestly, I started to feel really bad, because while I was doing the Devil's Tango with his girl, he was serving our country. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like a major loser after knowing this and running this through my head, to the point where I ended up seeing her come into the bedroom and say, oh, like, what are you doing in here? Why are you in my bedroom? And I looked at her and said, honestly, I think I'm just gonna go. Wait, Baba, can we talk about this? No, I just want to leave. I'm gonna be honest with you. And at that moment, I went right through those doors, left her building, and to be honest, I ended up actually walking home. I took a long walk and just thought about the choices I made that day, and I realized that maybe I gotta be more careful with the women that I decide to do the Devil's Tango with, because let's be real here, I was not proud of my choices that day at all. But you guys gotta be honest with me, okay? Like, would you guys do what I did and basically do the Devil's Tango with a woman that had a boyfriend in the military? Wait, Bubba, you're breaking up with me? Why, do you like another girl or something? Well, at this moment, I did not know how to tell this girl that I loved my VR girlfriend more than her. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another really embarrassing story. So this story all takes place back when I was in high school, and this was my grade 12 year. Now, in grade 12, I'm not gonna lie, I was really dumb. For a guy that was graduating, I did not know left and right, and I really just did not understand what I want to do in the future. Like, if one of you guys came up to me my grade 12 year and asked me what I was planning to do 5 years from now, there was no way I was able to say story times about all the sus moments in my life. But I remember back in my grade 12 year, I had a girlfriend girlfriend that I somewhat did care about. I don't want to say I loved her because, well, to be honest, if I really did love her still, I would be still with her. But the thing is that I had this girlfriend back when I was in grade 12 that honestly was super annoying. I didn't realize it at the time because for some reason, I guess I was so blinded by her being my girlfriend that I just didn't think about myself. And I remember me and this girl, we got along once in a while, but the only thing we were actually good at together was doing the devil's tango. But obviously, since the entire school knew I was dating this girl and everyone, basically understood that me and this girl were in a relationship, I basically thought to myself, you know what? I had no choice but to be with her. This was really bad thinking, and honestly, for anyone that's in a relationship that they don't want to be in but feels like they have to, you don't have to. Going on with the story though, I remember basically one time back in my grade 12 year, there was one moment where basically my friend walked up to me and told me, yo, Bubba, you still have that VR I gave you? Yeah, I'm still using it once in a while, but not as much as I used to. Why? What's up? Me and like a bunch of the guys are hopping on later tonight. Do you want to hop on? There's like this game where you can like go around and like hang out and talk to other people. At this moment, I didn't really know what it was, but apparently there was like a game that came out where you could just interact and then hang out with others as if it was real life. So I remember I decided to say, sure, why not? And basically after school that day, that's when I decided to hop on and basically go on this game. When I hopped onto the game, I'm not going to lie to you, virtual reality is a really weird thing because once you put on that headset, it feels like nothing around you matters anymore other than what's playing in front of your eyes. But I remember when me and my friends were playing this game, we would walk around like this bar setting and we would go and interact with other people that also have microphones and VR headsets. I think it's called VR chat. I'm not really 100% sure though. And basically me and my friends, we'd walk around, goof around, and we basically acted like we were hanging out in real life. It's actually really cool how technology works nowadays, but I want to say something insane ended up happening when we were hanging out on there. I remember one of my friends ended up leaving for a bit and he ended up walking around the VR game and then he ended up coming back with another person. Except this other person wasn't part of our friend group. It was a girl that apparently he met and they got along great. And when I started talking to this girl, me and her, we actually started like hang out, walk around in virtual reality, and me and her got along really good as well. It was really weird, obviously, to become, friends with people through the internet, but at the same time, it's nothing that we haven't done already. So me and her, I remember we started talking about life and stuff, and she started telling me more about herself, and then one thing led to another. I realized that she lived literally in a totally different country than me, but I will say this, even if she lived so far, I felt like a certain connection with this girl. I don't want to say that I was in love with her, but I will say this, I was more into her than I guess my actual girlfriend that I was dating at the moment. But obviously I didn't say anything because this was the first time I met this girl. But I want to say towards the end of the night when I was about to get off and basically go to bed, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing this girl walk up to me in the game and she said to me, oh, Bubba, I was just wondering, are you gonna hop on tomorrow? I don't know, I might have plans. Okay, well, if you do hop on, I was wondering maybe we could go out together. Wait, what do you mean by that? Oh, go on a date. How would we do that? Oh, I know this server where it's like a date night. It would be fun. I don't know. If you're down, just tell me. At this moment, I didn't know what to say because part of me wanted to go and do this cool dating game, but at the same time, would that be considered cheating on my girlfriend if I went on this date in a video game? At this moment, I was asking myself so many questions, so I ended up hopping off and I ended up texting my actual girlfriend in real life. And as I was texting my real life girlfriend, all I got was complaints left and right about how I didn't text her all day. One thing I started to realize was that my girlfriend in real life was way more needy than literally any other girl that I knew. But obviously, I didn't make a big deal out of it. I ended up just saying I cared about her and I went to bed that night. But I want to say the next day is where things got really interesting because I remember the next day when I went to school, I remember I was hanging out with me and my friends, and me and my friends were all talking about how we enjoyed virtual reality yesterday and how fun the game was. It was the only topic we could talk about. But then I remember my girlfriend ended up walking up to me and she said, oh, hey, Bubba, what's going on? What are you guys talking about? And at that moment, all my friends went quiet. The reason they went quiet was because they didn't want to say anything about last night towards her because they didn't want to hear her complaining since, well, I guess my girlfriend was already kind of known for complaining so much, which is honestly a major red flag. But I will say this, I ended up just telling her how we all just started playing a new game and it was fun. She didn't ask any questions about it, but I will say this, she started getting suspicious because I remember as my girlfriend left, out of nowhere, one of the boys ended up saying, yo, Bubba, I was gonna say something about the girl you met yesterday. Anything happened there? And at that moment, I froze. I didn't know if I should say that she asked me out. I didn't know if I should say anything about this girl in the first place because, well, I was taken. But at the same time, in my mind, I was thinking, you know what? It's a video game. Obviously, it's not real. And that's when I ended up telling them about the girl that asked me out. All of them started freaking out and stuff and being like, bro, no way you're pulling an e-girl. And they basically made a big deal out of it. But for me, I didn't see it as a big deal. Once again, I thought it was just a video game. Well, at least until I got home. Because when I got home, something insane happened. I remember when I got home, I ended up hopping on my VR headset and I instantly went into the world that I went to yesterday and I started playing with my friends in VR chat. And I remember me and all of us were hanging out and then instantly out of nowhere, I ended up hearing a voice behind me. The voice was the girl that literally asked me out the day before and she said, oh, hey, hey, Bubba, you hopped on. Yeah, hey, what's going on? Well, like, I was wondering, do you want to go on that date now? At this moment, all my friends went quiet. They wanted to know if I was going to say yes or no. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I ended up saying yes. Instantly at that moment, when I said yes to her, she ended up going to the server that she wanted me to go to with her. And all my friends were spamming my phone, texting me saying, bro, you're cheating on your girl right now. You're cheating on her with this e-girl. But in my mind, I didn't know how, because obviously it was just a game on the internet. But one thing led to another. I remember I ended up going to this game with her, and me and her, we went on this dating server where basically me and her sat down. We started talking about a lot of different things. And me, honestly, I couldn't take any of it seriously because, like, in my mind, I thought this was just all, once again, a game. But then one thing led to another. I remember she looked at me and said, oh, Bubba, can I get your social media? Yeah, sure. And I ended up giving her my Instagram. And when she got my Instagram, I remember she started texting me on there. And this is where things kind of went from fake to real life, because me and her, we started actually getting to know each other in a personal level that, well, I guess didn't really make it a video game anymore. It became real. And part of me felt really bad because I felt like I was cheating on my girlfriend, but at the same time, was I really still? I didn't really know what was going on, nor did I know what to say or think. But I think this is where things get really insane, because I remember the next day when I went to school, all my friends were just freaking out about, you know, how I went on a date with this girl and everything. And one of them ended up walking up to me saying, yo, Bubba, so do you have like 2 girlfriends now? One online and one in real life? Bro, what are you talking about? It's not like that. And at that moment, I remember once I said that, my actual girlfriend in real life came up behind me and said, wait, what do you mean online girlfriend? At that moment, I started to worry. I didn't know what to say, and all the boys actually ended up scattering away because they didn't want to say anything. At that moment, I turned around and I said, yeah, so listen, I kind of just like played this game yesterday. It's like a dating game. It's really dumb. I remember that moment, my girlfriend got really upset with me. And honestly, she got so annoying to the point where I literally said to her, okay, you know what? I think we should just break up. Honestly, like, I can't do this anymore. I remember at that moment, my girlfriend in real life started crying, and she's like, oh, like, you're leaving me for your online girlfriend? Like, how could you? But honestly, like, it wasn't even just because of her, but it was because she was just super annoying and I wasn't happy in the relationship anymore. I started to realize what was better for me. So me and her, we ended things off. And I remember that night when I went home, first thing I did was I instantly went on my headset in VR, and I actually went to go talk to the girl that I was actually kind of getting interested in, which honestly sounds crazy. And I started to think to myself, am I crazy for leaving my actual girlfriend and now approaching a e-girl on VR chat? Like, was I being crazy at this moment? I didn't know what to do, but I remember I walked up to her and I saw her, and me and her, we started talking more and more. And that's when I brought up, I guess, me and her kind of getting together. We started kind of online dating for a bit, and then one thing led to another. I'm not gonna lie, I ended up meeting a girl in real life that I found way more attractive, and well, me and her, we actually did the devil's tango. So in a way, I guess you could say I cheated on 2 girls. I'm not really sure, but honestly, if you guys consider that cheating, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.